Chapter 4: Everything has a price. Hazel compares investing in the stock market to buying a car. When you want to get a new car, you have three options: buy it new, buy it used, or steal it. Most people would avoid stealing, since its consequences outweigh the value of getting a free car. But somehow, when it comes to the stock market, people do think they can steal. They try to get the rewards without paying the price. Or they pick the equivalent of a used car instead, which is an asset that is lower risk and thus lower reward. But, Hazel explains, if you want the reward, you have to pay the price. With investing, the price you pay isn't just in dollars or cents, but rather accepting the volatility and fear that comes with an investment. So in this case, stealing the car would be trying to sell stock before a dip and trying to buy again before a big boom. For example, let's say you want to earn an 11% annual return for the next 30 years in preparation for your retirement. The Dow Jones Industrial Average returned at a high rate, about 11% per year, from 1950 to 2019. But during this time the returns also fluctuated up and down dramatically. For most people, watching their investments value yo-yo can be devastating. So in this scenario, you might panic and try to steal the car. But what reward could you get if you accept the price of volatility and fear? Consider three imaginary investors named Sue, Jim, and Tom who each invest $1 in the stock market every month from 1900 to 2019. Sue invests her $1 every month, come rain or shine, recession or prosperity. She pays the price of the fluctuating market. Jim is a bit more skittish. When a recession hits, he takes his stock out of the market and reinvests when the recession ends. Tom takes more time to adjust. He waits until 6 months after a recession begins to take out his money and puts it back 6 months after it ends. How much money would each investor finish with by 2019? Hazel explains that between 1900 and 2019 there were 1,428 months, with a little over 300 of them being recessions. Because Sue paid the price for 22% more time, when the economy was near or in a recession, she made a third more than Jim or Tom. So if we too accept the highs and lows of investing, we'll be more likely to reap the rewards. Chapter 5: The Seduction of Pessimism. The Psychology of Money. We all have a common bias that may affect how we think about money: pessimism. Whether you've lost your job or you've lost money, it's easy to feel pessimistic about the future. But if you look back across the years, you can see that things have generally gotten better. For example, after World War II, Japan experienced economic, social, and political devastation. And then in 1946, it faced a famine so terrible that people had to subsist on 800 calories a day. Most Japanese people would think the writer of that article was insane. That's because many of us perceive pessimism as intelligent and think optimism sounds like a sales tactic. And yet, in the case of Japan, this optimistic outlook was correct. Why are we so quick to embrace pessimism over optimism? And how does it affect how we deal with money? Pessimism is attractive and common, especially when it comes to money, for a few reasons. First off, money matters to all of us. So when something bad happens in the economy, we're likely to pay attention. For example, even though only 2.5% of Americans owned stock in 1929, the entire country was devastated when the market crashed. This still applies today. Even though only roughly half of Americans own stock, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is a common metric for how the economy is doing. Another reason why pessimism is so pervasive, Hazel explains, is that bad news tends to have a clearer arc. This is likely because there are many overnight tragedies, but few overnight miracles. So optimistic narratives are harder to construct because they have to encompass a wider swath of time. For example, we're likely to quickly notice a 40% decline in the stock market over 6 months. But a 140% gain over 6 years might go unnoticed because it happens incrementally. Although pessimism is attractive, it's important to remember that good things, especially when it comes to money, take time. Furthermore, we don't need to be pessimistic to be practical. Instead, we can be optimistic as Hazel defines it, a belief that the odds of a good outcome are in your favor over time even if there are setbacks along the way. So when the nightly news highlights another blow to the economy, you can remember that things generally trend upwards. Chapter 6: Your Money. Now that you know some common biases and misconceptions about money management, what's next? In this final section, we'll cover a few of Hazel's recommendations of what you should do with your money. There are few financial factors in your control, but saving money is one of them. Hazel encourages you not to save for a specific reason, like a vacation or big house. Instead, start saving now in preparation for life's inevitable surprises, such as getting laid off. In fact, the thing you're likely to need the extra money for you won't be able to predict. So prepare for the gap in the future between what you think will happen and what can actually happen. Hazel calls this room for error. Hazel personally saves as though future returns will be 1/3 less than what average returns have been historically. To save money, stop trying to buy possessions for the sole purpose of impressing others. Hazel explains it this way: saving money is the gap between your ego and your income. So to save money, embrace humility. Also, in all likelihood, your fancy possessions don't really matter to anyone but you. For example, whenever you see someone in a nice car, you generally don't think, "What an impressive person." It's more likely you think, "Wow, I'd love a car like that." So if you're looking for respect and admiration, you're more likely to find it in other ways. Beyond saving money, it's important to make financial decisions that make sense to you. Hazel calls "Does This Help Me Sleep at Night" the best universal guidepost for financial decisions. Make financial decisions that you feel good about, whether that's chasing high returns in the stock market or not investing at all. For example, Hazel and his partner paid for their house out of pocket, rather than take out a mortgage. Though this might sound crazy to others, it helps them sleep at night. Hazel and his partner can go to bed knowing they own their house and don't need to worry about making payments. The main ideas, Chapter 6. Hazel recommends saving money and making financial decisions that help you sleep at night. Don't just save for things like vacations, but also for inevitable surprises. Make financial decisions that help you sleep at night, even if other people think they're crazy.